Hi everyone, welcome to another twin flame reading. You don't necessarily have to be on the twin flame journey. If the title resonates, then great, but my intention is just to have like higher level love connections, high level love, okay? So this is going to be the feminine side, this is going to be the masculine side. Do you like these little cuties? They kissers, they kissers. I have to use them to see so I don't go out of bounds. There we go. And it will resonate some weeks, some weeks it will not, but my intention is always to get the messages out to the people who need it the most, okay? So this may be your week, this may not be. It's a general reading, and yeah. Of course, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Really comment because it helps me, it helps other people sort of like tap into the collective. Remember that twin flames are on a mission. We're on a love revolution, okay? So we need help from each other. You know, I can only offer so much wisdom. I need you guys' wisdom too. And if you would like a personal reading, of course, check the description box below. In July, I'm going to raise my prices, so you might want to get in on some personal readings before they go up. So let me give this one more shuffle. Masculine side, feminine side. Actually, let me do this. And for these guys. For twin flames, so twin flames change the paradigms of love. So you may find that the rules of courtship, right? What women are supposed to do, what men are supposed to do, you just never fit the mold, right? And so that means that your mission is to change the way we do things. Doesn't have to be a straight relationship either. In fact, I feel like perhaps the LGBT community, I don't want to say like higher likelihood that they're a twin flame, but, you know, they're changing paradigms. So let's see. This is all about love revolutions, changing the paradigm of love. One more shuffle for my feminine and my masculine. Changing femininity, changing masculinity, finding our divinity in both dualities. Okay, so this is the checkpoint. Where is the divine feminine? Give me 1 second, I gotta twist on my lotion. Where's the divine feminine? Oh, so we have ideal partnership. Very nice, very nice. I think the divine feminine is very clear about what she wants and what she will no longer tolerate. And I'm not saying tolerate like abuse or anything like that, although of course we don't want to be in abusive relationships. I'm saying tolerate as in selling yourself too short, not reaching high enough, right? Sort of settling for things that are beneath her, that are lower than her. And again, not in a sort of snobby, high standards way. I just feel like this is like the divine feminine reaching a level in her spiritual ascension where the way she used to date, the people she used to date are no longer, they just no longer do it for her. They no longer satisfy her. So in a sense, you know, she has to sort of recalibrate who she lets in and who she doesn't. So let's see what else we got. Yes, we have the Three of Pumpkins, or the Three of Pentacles reversed. I feel like perhaps in the past, the divine feminine, again, I feel like she was, and it could be a he too, it's just feminine energy. The divine feminine was in relationships, sort of like trying them on for size, right? And not really, like, she had her standards, she knew what she wanted, but she, like, up until this connection, she had only reached a certain level in her spiritual work. And once she met her divine masculine, then she, you know, that twin flame journey was activated. So And I also feel with this Three of Pentacles talks about teamwork. So she might have been in relationships where she was doing all the work and she wants more of an equal give and take. She wants her match. She wants her equal, right? She doesn't want to settle for less, to settle for people who are not quite at her level. But I also think that, you know, this talks about, like, I feel like, when we talk about teamwork, this is a guy who is fixing a stained glass in a church and he's by himself. Usually the Three of Pentacles we see like 3 people, so it's like a team, right? But this is like just one person. I feel like maybe in the past the Divine Feminine was sort of going by others' expectations, right? Trying to like make it work for someone else, right? Like for the church, for the institution, for the standard way of doing things, but she never was able to experience something that was on her match or that was on her level, that was in alignment with her. And so again, once she met the Divine Masculine, then she the twin flame journey was activated and she was on that level. She was on a vibrational match with you know, her counterpart. So let's see where the Divine Masculine is. We have Story of My Life. Look, it's kind of mirroring. I like that. A couple, and it's all about like engagement, love. We see a snake with roses handing a mouse roses here. And we also see wine and cheese, like the perfect pairing. Oops, sorry, baby. I also want to say the Divine Masculine's journey is a little different because perhaps he had this sort of idea about what he was looking for in a partner, and it, like meeting his Divine Feminine, it was like everything he wished for, but like not in the package he wished for it. And I don't even mean that in looks. I mean that in like circumstances. I mean that in like personality and maybe spirituality. And I also want to say with the snake and the mouse, there is a couple, I think it's called Twin Flame Healing, but they're a couple, a man and a woman, and they go through the twin flame journey. They're a little older, like maybe 50s, I don't know, but they explain the twin flame journey really well. If I can remember it, I'll link it. If I can't, I'm sorry. But they talk about how the Divine Feminine's experience is to sort of the runner-chaser dynamic. So the Divine Feminine's experience is to take back her power after toxic patriarchy, like, suppressed women for ages and ages, right? And so as she makes career advancements, as she's able to live more independently, own her own house, we weren't even able to have credit cards until the 1970s, okay? So as she experiences this level of power, then you know, she turns into a dragon, and then the dragon chases the mouse into the hole, right? Like, why aren't you in love with me, right? And so the goal is to balance like both of these energies out, so that the Divine Feminine and the Divine Masculine can reach their full potential, can be in their full power, without having power over one or the other, and without the feminine being toxic and without the masculine being toxic, right? So this is sort of like a finding an equilibrium among the sexes, or among the feminine and masculine energies. Let's get some more clarification. We have the, yes, so we have the Queen of Cups, or the Queen of Ghosts. Once the Divine Masculine was activated in this journey, he might have it might have opened him up to his emotions in a way that his other love experiences hadn't, right? So this is the Divine Masculine tapping into his feminine energy. He may be someone who is a little more a little more sensitive than his male counterparts, and he might have had to sort of like put up a front, right? And so meeting this strong woman, like he met his match too. You know, the divine feminine might have had, I mean, we all have masculine and feminine energies within us, but the divine feminine might have been stronger than some of the other women that he was used to. It sort of balanced out his feminine energies that he may have been covering up in the past. And also, I feel like he may be a little intimidated, even though, like, it's his match. I feel like, you know, there's this big snake and then this timid little mouse. And so, you know, having that feminine side of him exposed, like, just the way our society is set up, like, he may feel sort of emasculated, right? A little small. Like his ego might feel a little small, right? But actually you guys are a match. And this is like a story he's been telling himself, right? This is the story of my life. So now he's like rewriting a different story to be, you know, these are like an equal pairing, an equal match. This has a little bit of imbalance to it, but I think it's just based off of society's expectations and trying to mask, you know, his sensitive side. The Queen of Cups, this is Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy. The Queen of Cups is someone who is very tender, very motherly, cuts the crust off your sandwiches, asks if you want slippers, and you know, just very tender-hearted, tells you happy birthday on your birthday, and very sweet. And so, you know, he may actually be that type of person, but just hasn't, like, stepped up to that role until now. So he's learning how to do that. If this is resonating with you, I would encourage you to stay for the rest of the reading. If it's not, I don't want to hold you hostage here. Hope it resonates at another time, but this might not be the reading for you. But if it is, let's continue. Okay, so how does the Divine Feminine, what does the Divine Feminine want to tell you? Excuse me. The Divine Feminine wants to tell the Divine Masculine that this experience has made her stronger. You know, if you guys are in separation, it might have hurt like hell, but that hurt caused a sort of immunity within herself to where her soul is stronger now, right? It's my belief that souls are incarnated on earth because human suffering is the strongest test of spirit, right? So we come to earth to experience all this pain, all this suffering, all these trials and tribulations, but it's because this sort of like emotional density on earth that once we leave it, once we enter the afterlife, then we're so much stronger than we were before because we have endured all this like heavy pain and suffering, right? Like war, violence, heartache, grief. I heard once that like angels and spirit guides are a little jealous whenever we cry because just like the intensity of that emotion, and it doesn't matter if it's like sadness or happiness, like tears of joy, but like they can't experience that like that intensity, right? That like longing and that pull, that like human drama, I guess. And so they kind of miss that because they can see things from a higher perspective, and we're like pained and you know, it's like agony and ecstasy for humans, and it's just like a great story. What else does the Divine Feminine wants to tell you that she is remembering your love, that she's remembering the good times, and that, you know, for the Divine Feminines that I'm resonating today, I feel like she has no ill will, she has no resentment, she's forgiven everything, she is not holding a grudge, she is thinking very fondly, and even the stuff that made her like even the agony, right? She's like remembering the ecstasy, but even the agony brought her to a place of spiritual ascension, of spiritual enlightenment, and without being activated by this twin flame experience, she would have never reached a level of spirituality, would have never reached a level of soul growth without her counterpart coming into her life. So I just feel like this immense like gratitude, and I feel like I feel like it's gonna be like imprinted on the ages, right? Like for lifetimes upon lifetimes, your story is going to stay with this soul forever, right? Like she has been changed forever because of this connection, and I feel like, you know, she's really grateful for it. There's like an emotional imprint that will be there until the end of time, right? Beautiful. What does the Divine Masculine want to tell the Divine Feminine? The Divine Masculine is in a place of wonder. Like I said, this could be for people who are in separation, and so maybe there's no communication, maybe someone blocked someone else, maybe you know, you guys haven't spoken to each other in forever, but they could be spying online, because this is, you know, a group of people with these 3D glasses sort of watching this like movie, right? So I get like this media, the sense of media, so that could be like social media too, and also like watching, right? And with the 3D glasses, it's kind of like an altered sense of reality. So even though the Divine Masculine might be spying on the feminine online, like he's only getting sort of this skewed perspective, and I think he's aware that, like, you know, we only post our highlight reel. We don't post every single thing about ourselves. I mean, sometimes we post, you know, vulnerabilities and sadness and all of that, but I think he's like well aware that it's not the full picture. You know, whatever you post, good or bad, I feel like he has this sense of wonder, like maybe like, is the feminine seeing anyone? Do they still think of me? You know, I wonder what they look like. You know, I for one, this is personal, but I for one have stopped posting selfies. I took down all my Instagram photos for reasons I won't get into here, but I feel like I have created some mystery, not really intentionally, just because I'm kind of like I'm just not feeling like in a selfie mood, right? I mean, I feel like I look good. I like am confident in how I look, and never looked better, but I just don't feel like I don't know. Just a feeling. Let me know if you resonate with that energy, but I just like haven't had much of an urge to post as many selfies as I used to. And so if you've pulled back in some way like that, and it doesn't have to be selfies, it can be you know, just like not posting as much, or maybe you deleted one of your social medias or something like that. And again, we could have blocking. But if you've pulled back in any sort of way, then you've created this sense of wonder within him. You've created this sense of, I wonder what she's doing. And like his imagination is running wild. And that creates a magnetism, that creates a pull. Let's see, let's get more information. So we have the Chariot. You could be, this is Cancer energy, but the Chariot is about moving forward. So right when I said that there was magnetism, that there was a pull, right? It's like creating this sort of scarcity makes people want it more, right? So it's kind of like supply and demand, right? So if you take out the supply, the demand kind of gets higher, right? So he's like, he wants to move forward, he wants to like drive to you, and it's like coming back to these memories, right? This Chariot, this hearse, is driving back to this church. Like a return, right? And I feel like in this situation, it's not like the Divine Feminine did this intentionally to play games to make the masculine come back. I feel like this was just a natural level in her, you know, personal life, in her process. And, you know, it happened naturally that he would, that sort of resistance would create a pull back to her. So let's get on to how the Divine Feminine feels about the Divine Masculine. Oh, we have joy. Guys, this is so sweet. And guys! We also have some mirroring here because this is popcorn and this is like 3D movie theater. So go into the movies. Y'all. If y'all want to reconnect, I'm feeling the energies are in a good place. Even if you have moved on from your twin flame, I feel like the vibrations that both the feminine and the masculine are having, like if there's no way that you guys can be together in the 3D, I feel like you guys have improved each other's paths so dramatically that there's just so much joyful love that is in store for you, right? Like I said earlier when I was explaining twin flames, it's like you might have had all these heartbreaks in the past and like relationships didn't work out, and you know, any advice, any dating advice that your friends would give would just be like, well, I've tried that and it's not working, so what am I supposed to do? But it's like you are finally getting that good karma. You're finally getting that joy. Oh my gosh, how the Divine Feminine feels about the Divine Masculine is joy. You make her very joyful. And with this Four of Imps, this is the marriage card, this is the foundations card. It's like activating this twin flame journey finally laid down the foundation she needed that never worked before, that she could never get with anyone else. And there's just such a sense of fun with this. There's such a sense of like joy, excitement, yeah, and it's not even like a lack of seriousness or anything, because we have the Four of Wands here. The Four of Wands is a happy home. The Four of Wands is stable. And the Four of Wands is the twin flame card, 1111. Beautiful. So yeah, she is feeling very, very loving, very connected to the Divine Masculine. I love that. You know, she might have to let go of a lot of resentments and practice a lot of radical forgiveness, but I feel like the Divine Feminines I'm resonating with today are in a really good place, and I feel like the Masculines are too, but let's keep moving. How does the Divine Masculine feel about the Divine Feminine? We have positive thinking. I like it. And we have the Hermit. So, cute. So this little hermit is a little different because it's like this scientist in this laboratory, right? So it's like a scientist doing experiments. And he may have entered this relationship in a very light, casual way. He may have entered it with the template that he was used to, right? And not taking it very seriously at first, but as the process went on, he just found like all these discoveries, right? Experimentation renders discoveries, and it like rewired parts of his brain, right? It changed the way he thought forever, because I'm getting the phrase, if you do something, hold on, let me think about it. Insanity is the definition of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So he had been doing things over and over again, kind of expecting a different result, or even he might have lost faith along the way and just sort of like given up and thought like, well, love isn't going to, you know, happen the way it does in the movies. So, you know, this is how things are, right? But then he met you, and it was like, this is doing things differently, right? So this is a different result. This is like something I've never had. Also with the Hermit and positive thinking, I feel like perhaps for the masculines that I'm connecting with, for the twin flame journey that I'm connecting with, this person, this masculine, might have been kind of a serial monogamist in the past. They may have jumped from one relationship to another and, you know, fallen into the same patterns, again, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And once they met you, they realized perhaps that they needed to work on themselves, that they needed to cultivate a sense of wholeness within themselves, that they needed more independence, right? That they could no longer just sort of fall into relationships because they wanted to get laid on a regular basis, right? Or they wanted that attention, or they wanted like double income or anything like that, right? So they're no longer entering relationships out of convenience. I feel like, you know, with this wonder card too, they have more of a sense of wonder now, and things are very different, right? This experiment has sort of grown all these like flowers in their head, and where there might have not been growth in other relationships, right? Also with the Hermit talks about a spiritual journey. It's kind of like Jesus in the wilderness. So whenever, if you guys are in separation, whenever the runner pulled back, so usually the feminine energy is the chaser, usually the masculine is the runner. Doesn't have to be. Sometimes we run and chase each other, right? Because we do mirror each other. So, but typically, like the strongest, you know, that's how it works. So the divine masculine might have ran away realizing, oh shit, like I gotta step up my game and get cool with myself, and, you know, go on this like vision quest for myself, because, you know, this feminine is so spiritually advanced, and like she is changing all these things within me, causing all this growth, giving me all these discoveries that, you know, I really gotta step up my game. So he might have been on more of a journey of finding himself. Like he might have stepped back to find himself, to you know, reevaluate his needs, that, like, you know, in the past you might have taken personally, but the separation was important for you guys to both go on that journey, right? The separation was important for you guys to learn the lessons you needed to learn that you couldn't learn otherwise, right? It's like you needed to come together to activate that twin flame journey, to experience that connection, but you also needed to separate to experience the scarcity of that 3D connection, to experience that that lack of the 3D reality, right? To realize that you are connected in the 5D. So pulling away, being a hermit, finding himself was part of the experiment, right? It was part of a discovery he needed to make within his own mind, right? Growth he needed to make within his own head. And I feel like one of the reasons he might have pulled away is because of negative thinking and, you know, realizing like how magnificent the divine feminine was, or how magnificent the connection was, and you know, acknowledging that his negativity would just ruin it, right? So while he was away, I feel like there has been a huge transformation and a huge path of self-discovery, self-help, self-growth, and really self-love, you know, reaching that wholeness within himself. And that's awesome. I love that. So what is the divine feminine learning from this connection? We have forgiveness. I've been talking like, she's already forgiven, but yeah. And forgiveness and the 8 of Wands. So, What the Divine Feminine is learning from this connection, I feel like, is to not jump to conclusions. In the past, she might have like popped off whenever her suspicions kicked in. She might have even popped off for legitimate reasons if the Divine Masculine messed up, but I feel like what the Divine Feminine is learning is more compassion for those situations, right or wrong, right? Even like if she was misguided or if she was right about it, I feel like she is sort of learning impulse control as far as taking like punitive measures against her masculine, or even against like men in general, people she dates in general, because like I'm hearing not worth it. And not that the Divine Masculine is worth it, but like I said, she's reached a level in her spiritual ascension that she can't settle for just any old relationship. And so if, you know, a random person done her wrong, they're just not worth the overreaction. I also feel like what the Divine Feminine is learning from this connection is, for some of you, how to say sorry. For some of you, how to accept apologies. But it's all about communicating that, you know, we all fall short, and communicating that understanding and that sense of compassion, so that you can reach a deeper level of intimacy, right? Like not cutting things off so quickly, or just not letting things bother her as much, because she recognizes her divinity and doesn't waste her divinity on things that are below her, whether that is her own ego or, you know, random jokers on the street. So what is the Divine Masculine learning from this connection? We have impermanence. So impermanence talks about, let me see if I can describe it. Well, let me read it because I can't describe it by myself right now. The Divine Masculine is learning impermanence. Life is always changing, and I drift easily through those changes, good and bad. As I drift through hard times, I can take comfort in knowing that I will leave them behind. Excuse me. As I drift away from good times, I can take comfort in knowing that more will come my way. Impermanence is an equal opportunity non-entity. So this is talking about highs and lows, and accepting that nothing is permanent, right? That any sort of pain he experiences isn't going to be forever. Any sort of, like, his past relationships, right? His patterns in relationships, that didn't last forever, right? He went to another wave of that high wave, that good wave, right? So having more acceptance of the highs and the lows, and it's very similar to this, because this is a lot of action. And this is like ups and downs, right? And I talked about like impulse control with this. So let's see. What else is the... Oh, okay. So what the Divine Masculine is learning, justice. Justice talks about fairness. Justice talks about karmic justice. So I feel like the Divine Masculine is seeing things from a bird's eye view, from a big picture perspective. And he's learning that, you know, perhaps things that didn't work out in the past, they were meant to teach him those lessons. Things that didn't work out in the past were to tie and untie any sort of karmic contract that he had with others, right? So he can acknowledge that he had good times and bad times with that horrible ex, but ultimately that horrible ex, and I'm talking about karmic relationships, not with the Divine Feminine, but with karmic relationships, those sort of highs and lows were ways to Okay, like in the spiritual community, in some twin flame experiences in the spiritual community, when you see things from a bird's eye perspective, you realize that everyone plays a part on the stage, right? That there really aren't good guys, bad guys. I mean, there are, but it's like good guys in this lifetime have been bad guys in past lifetimes, right? So I think what he's realizing is sort of the wholeness of people in general, the wholeness of even himself, right? So in the past, he may have felt guilty for the things he'd done, like just like beat himself up about it. And now he's realizing, like, you know what? I'm a person, and in the grand scheme of things, you know, I'm just as good as everyone else. Or even like, you know, sort of casting himself as like a white knight, you know, he might be realizing like, maybe I should take it down a notch, you know? So I feel like this is just a realization that everyone plays a part on the world stage in order to act as a puzzle piece in this grand journey of life, right? Like just realizing that these highs and lows are more like plot points in life, and they're not like, he's not forever doomed to a life of bad luck or anything, right? Next question. What is the Divine Feminine how is the Divine Feminine healing the connection? I love this. Playfulness, and we have the Knight of Cups. So, I feel like the Knight of Cups is a card about, it's a card about a little Casanova figure. It's a card about someone who's sort of in love with love, and they have all these emotional affairs, and they have like backup plans, right? Like plan B's, plan C's. But what I'm getting a sense with this is, I feel like how the Divine Feminine is healing the collective is she's flirting more right now, right? She's in this playful energy. She has this joy, right? She has this joy. She has this vitality, right? And she's flirting with a bunch of people, but I don't think it's to like lead them on or anything. I think it's just to sort of get her energy buzzing on happy again, right? And so flirting with these people is to, it's more so for practice, more so for just fun. I don't think there's any seriousness to it, and I don't think it's like I usually see the Knight of Cups reversed as this insecure figure who needs all those emotional relationships, as like, you know, in case someone rejects them, they have someone else to fall back on. I don't see that as like an insecurity here. How she's healing the collective is just raising the vibration just by like simple playfulness, simple flirtation, that won't go anywhere, but there's like no obligation for it to go anywhere, right? Like everyone understands that. Everyone's just having fun, and I don't even necessarily, you'll have to tell me, but I don't necessarily know if this is with her Divine Masculine directly or not, right? I feel like it's more like shallow relationships, but and it like, I feel like it raises their vibration too, right? Anyone that the Divine Feminine is flirting with, it like makes their day, right? Like you can smile at the guy at the grocery store. You don't have to marry him, but it does make your day, right? It's like a reason to dress up. So, how she's healing the collective is she is injecting a lot of fun and playfulness into the world, and everyone needs that, right? And a little bit of adventure, a little bit of feistiness, and she is feeling some good vibes. So, man, this twin flame reading, I like it. How is the divine masculine healing the collective? He has follow your heart. Nanook. I feel like he is in sort of a playful energy too, but I think it's more for exploration and adventure, and sort of like she is raising her vibration in a flirtatious way. She's raising her vibration in a playful way, and he's more so raising his vibration in a bravery way, right? He's like building up his courage. He's getting like this, his macho back, his mojo back, and getting that confidence back. And so he might be, how he's healing the collective is taking on more of these like daredevil things, right? Sort of testing his fear. So doing things that he is a little bit scared of, but after he achieves those things, he gains a level of confidence, and like, whew, I really did that, like, sort of energy, right? So both kind of mirroring each other, right? Both raising the vibration of yourself to get back to your 100%, right? To get ourselves out of this crying, this moping, and anything like that, and like reaching a level of like we've gained this mastery of spiritual development, and now it's sort of time to get back into that fun, get back into that playful energy, get back into that courage and bravery and adventure and machismo and all of that, in like the best way possible, not in like a toxic way. I also have the Hanged Man reversed, so I feel like, yeah, with the Hanged Man right here, I feel like this is, like, feeling like, okay, I have gained this enlightenment. With the Hanged Man, it shows a man who's hanging upside down and the blood rushes to his head. Usually shows an aura around his head, indicating like you have to see things from a different perspective to gain that enlightenment. But I feel like with it reversed, it's like, okay, I've learned my lesson, I've gained that enlightenment, I have felt sad, like I was saying, and now it's time for me to, you know, take those lessons and ride the wave. Interesting that we do have wave, because these are two waves, right? This is highs and lows, and this is a wave right here, a surfing wave, and then a wave right here. So, you know, this is him building up his bravery, building up his strength and his courage and his sort of protector, you know, strong, masculine side up after feeling like, you know, not on his 100%. So what does the Divine Feminine need? The Divine, oh, yes, friendliness. Oh my gosh, this is such a good reading. The Divine Feminine, what she needs is probably a vacation. Either with her friend, I mean, friendliness here, right? So it could be with her friends. But I'm getting for some feminines, they're going to be taking a trip with the Divine Masculine, right? If you guys reconnect, then that would be an easy way to sort of bridge the gap and sort of have like a weekend getaway where you can have fun with each other, iron out your stuff. But I feel like if that is the case, then this is going to be a vacation that doesn't have a lot of expectation or obligations to it. I feel like it's going to be very lighthearted and, you know, not heavy in any sort of way, not like, you hurt my feelings when you did this and blah, 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 blah. This is about reconnecting to because this person probably was your friend, right? This, I mean, if this is your match, if this is your equal, then, you know, you guys didn't have to be friends that became lovers, but I mean, on some level, like, there is that connection with people where they're your friend, right? Your lover should be your best friend. And so I feel like this is reestablishing a friendship that's not necessarily being friend zoned. It's just like, you know, okay, let's get back to that like mutual respect and admiration and, you know, let's just be on good terms again, right? So I feel like there's going to be some sort of getaway for some of you guys. It could even just be like a day trip or something, like a hiking trip or something. Water is indicated, so maybe like lake trip or something like that. Trip by the pool. I mean, it is summertime. These are timeless readings, but I am recording this in the summertime, and we do have a lot of waves here, right? And yeah, those waves. But even if it's not a trip with the Divine Masculine, I feel like hanging out with the girls by the pool, you know, going kayaking on the lake with your friends, with your buds, is going to help you move away from your troubles even more, right? Reach an even higher level of forgiveness, right? So I feel like both of you guys are doing a great job in, you know, letting all this go and moving on and reaching a level of spiritual maturity, of spiritual ascension, and like getting back to your 100%. But, you know, just keep going. We can keep going. And if you haven't reconnected with your masculine yet, then your friends are going to help you a lot. What does the Divine Masculine need? Ups and downs. Interesting, because ups and down, this is kind of up and down, right? The Divine Masculine, ups and downs. What does he need? Ups and downs. Let me process this, because we have the Ace of Pentacles reversed. So this would definitely be a down. So maybe the Divine Masculine is feeling good right now, and he needs like another little jolt the opposite way, right? Like another little disappointment to be like, okay, you know, like I want to like maintain like a certain level of joy, right? So maybe I need to connect with my feminine. Let me read this because maybe I can get more information. Ups and Downs says, I see life as an incredible ride and I'm lucky to be on it. Yes, the ups and downs make me want to puke sometimes, but they're also what make things fun and interesting. And when you look back, even puking on yourself makes for a good story. So I did say, sorry, these cards are corny. So I did say that, you know, he is realizing this, and he did have Story of My Life, and it said that it makes for a good story. So, like, I feel like he is realizing, like, the value in this connection. Puking on yourself makes a good story. And knowing that it wasn't in vain, that it wasn't all for naught, that, like, you know, screw that bitch, you know, all bitches are crazy. Sorry for my language. But just knowing that he had to go through that down to learn what he needed to. But again, I feel like if he is achieving this sort of level of a high right now, he might need a little down. He might need something that falls through to sort of be that contrast, to pivot him to the direction he ultimately needs to go, to pivot him to you, to pivot him toward other love, to pivot him toward, you know, a higher purpose. I don't know. Let's get the last message. So the last message for the Divine Feminine is getting centered. And And the King of Cups, this is someone who is big old teddy bear. He gives the best hugs. He welcomes people in his home. He's just very warm, tears up at movies. And so I feel like the last message for the Divine Feminine is to, you know how I was talking about the dragon and the mouse, and how some feminine energies, like in an effort to gain more equilibrium among the feminine and masculine energies, they went a little over masculine, right? So a little over like more macho than a feminine needs to be, right? Like basically a woman in a man's suit, right? Instead of like a woman who is centered in her feminine and masculine energies, right? A woman who isn't sort of playing this part of, I'm one of the guys and I don't need anyone and I can have sex with whoever I want and it doesn't mean anything. I can do it just like a guy. I can, you know, be the boss, be on top of my career. You know, I can build these shelves. Just like doing it too much. And so I feel like the last message for the Divine Feminine is to like rein in that masculine energy so that it's like a softer and more balanced instead of like aggressive and overbearing and, you know, emasculating. Because remember, we started out with this Queen of Cups, which is interesting because we have a couple here. King of Cups, Queen of Cups. And I talked about how because of society, the masculine might feel a little emasculated just by this strong figure, right? So I'm not saying like be submissive and, you know, be that stereotypical woman. What I'm saying is getting more centered so that you don't steamroll anyone, getting more centered so that you're not overbearing, and that sense of strength that you have, right? Like being a strong woman, being that independent, in charge, takes care of her own finances, healthy sexual appetite, being that woman who has those things but isn't like aggressive about it, right? Doesn't scare people off about it. So with this King of Cups, I feel like this is getting centered in your emotions and leading your masculine energy in a more loving way, right? Let's get the last message for the Divine Masculine. I feel like it's going to clarify what the Divine Masculine needs that I couldn't quite get. Okay, so the last message for the Divine Masculine, we have Power and the Four of Cups. Four of Cups talks about rejection. So I feel like the Divine Masculine might, okay, I feel like the Divine Masculine might try to, and what he needs to do, because I asked like, what does the Divine Masculine need? I feel like what the Divine Masculine needs to do is similar to what the Divine Feminine needs to do, in that he needs to try, like sort of dip his toes into the water of dating again, right? Like try reaching out, not to the, I mean, yes, to the Divine Feminine, but maybe he needs like a little practice first, right? The Divine Feminine is practicing with her flirtiness. And I feel like the Divine Masculine, you know, he's building up his mojo back. He's building up his macho back. And so he might have to do like a few practice runs to like build up that bravery before he comes back to the Divine Feminine, if he wants to do that at all, right? But I feel like in this process, he is going to face rejection. But the thing is, because this is a down, right? This is a down and this is an Ace of Pentacles, right? So extending this offer, extending this pinnacle, and with the Four of Cups, the Four of Cups talks about rejection, right? Like, here, I'm offering you a cup. And they're like, no, thank you. So what the Divine Masculine needs is sort of that contrast of, like getting rejected, extending his cup of love, extending an offer, and someone turning him down, to one, build up his confidence that even if he does get turned down by the divine feminine, that, you know, he still has power, he's still confident, it's still just ups and downs of life. But also, to show him like the contrast of like, damn, like, this lady accepted my cup of love, and why are they sour grapes about it? Like, I'm powerful, don't you see? Like, this talks about the power of love. It's a curious thing. But I'll read this one too. I know I'm reading a lot for the divine masculine, but sometimes, you know, the words give you guys messages. But it says, I am strong, I am grounded, I am powerful. I am like a cross between a dinosaur and a tank, but not a tank that is used for war. I am like a peaceful, loving dino tank who feels so strong, it doesn't need to do anything but be. Oh, that's so cute. And I'm glad that I read it, because what it's saying is that, you know, you don't have to be super aggressive either, right? So the divine feminine is working through like reeling back her masculinity that has become toxic within her own self, right? She's trying to bring back the divinity within herself, and I feel like, you know, if you are in touch with your feminine side, you might have put like a macho facade on you, and this is about realizing like the power of love, that like there's strength in loving other people, right? There's strength in offering love. There's strength in being vulnerable, and you're grounded and powerful, and anyone who rejects it, it's like, well, I have enough love to give, and you know, I'm powerful enough that I know someone else is going to accept it. So I feel like both the divine feminine and the divine masculine are in really good places. I feel like on both parts they are practicing a little bit. The divine masculine needs a little bit of rejection. The divine feminine needs a little bit of flirtation. But I am really like happy with this reading. I'm really proud of both counterparts, and man, guys, we doing it. I love you very much. If you would like a personal reading, check the description box below and like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm really grateful for my subscribers. I feel like I don't tell you that enough. And it's really not like insincere. Like, it really does bring me a lot of joy, and it does make my day to see those numbers go up. Makes me very happy, and I really appreciate it. And you know, I just like connecting with others. I like giving them the messages that they need to hear. Not necessarily that they always want to hear, but that they always need to hear whenever I can. I don't get it right all the time, but anyway, I've just grown so much, and I look forward to growing more, and I'm really grateful for this community, right? Yeah, I'm grateful that YouTube gives me this platform. Whenever I was growing up in the Bible Belt, I had to hide my witchiness all the time because they either like prayed for you or burned you at the stake. And it's just great that like so many like-minded people are out there to connect with, like all around the world, right? It makes me very happy. I love other readers and all the viewers and their comments and the things they have to share. And really, I'm not just like asking for comments, you know, to get like interaction or anything. I really do want your comments because, you know, I learn from this stuff too. You guys give me a lot of insight and feedback, and I just grow so much, and I appreciate it. But anyway, I love you, and I will see you next time. Bye!